Rightio, all Commissioner of the TRSBA here, and we're looking at another early season 2025 power rankings for the TRSBA. That's what we're here for today, guys. So let's get started. We've got all 16 teams. We're going to look at the projections. We're going to look at a lot of things. We're going to look at all of that. So let's get started. See, the Commissioner's got a nice beard there. Rightio. Let's have a look. Who's 16th? Who do you think? One of these shit teams, I reckon. Let's see who it is. Starting with the Tampa Bay Butchers, the Snowman. DeAndre Ayton seems to be their best player on paper at the moment. Played for the Bahamas. Mark Williams, injured a lot of last season. Projected to come in, get 25.64 fantasy points a game. Trey Murphy, he may not even start in New Orleans, but that's the third best player. Keegan Murray, the fourth best. Walker Kessler, Grady Dick, Bilal. I think Bilal will have an okay year. Donovan Clingan is a rookie. Jaime Jaquez, I think there's a lot. He might do okay. Josh Green, Philip Hakowski, Robert Williams, Davion Mitchell. Any surprises there from me? I just think they're going to struggle, this team. I hope they've kept their pick. I can't see anything surprising there at all. I just hope Mark Williams plays a lot of games, and I hope DeAndre Ayton has a good season. So that's the Tampa Bay Butchers. The 15th team is the New York Lions. Brandon Miller, second pick in the 2023 NBA draft. They've also got Scoot Henderson, who I think is going to end up being a better player, but they've got Tyler Hero. They traded Keontae George for him. They ended up getting Alex Sarr with the number one pick. No one's going to get 30 FP unless Brandon Miller breaks out, which I don't think it will if LaMelo's there the whole season. Jalen Green, it's a do or die season. What season number is it for him? 4. Houston have got a lot of good players, so it's hard to know. He's ranked 78th from the league, and these guys have got no guys in the top 60. Andrew Wiggins will get a bit of a run this year. I don't know how well he will go. This team is going to struggle. That's the reason I've ranked them 15th for this year. Hopefully Steven Adams comes back. Dyson Daniels, we'd like to see a bit more of a role, nearly into the top 200. Yeah, on to team 14 now. The reason Toronto Flyers here at the moment, got that one player, LaMelo Ball, projected to be 38.28, 10th best player projected in the league. That's sort of, it's hard to think that he'll be that good, especially 2 seasons where he's played less than 60 games overall in the last 2 seasons. They've got a lot of players on their roster. They'll have to do some cutting. Hartenstein and Collins, their second and third best player. Westbrook probably going to get a bit of a run here. But apart from that, look, you go down that list, there's no one really that's going to stick out, that's going to, go off their nuts. Hope Lonzo Ball comes back. Hard to know what we get out of Tim Hardaway or Dylan Brooks. Zach Edey might be in the running for Rookie of the Year. Terrence Mann might get a bit of more of a run. Nemhard, we think he's pretty good. I think he's better than that, actually. I think he wouldn't be surprised if he's around 23 fantasy points a game. So that's the Flyers. Now, the unfinished Knight Rider team, the New Orleans Hurricanes. Look at this. They've got the Joker celebrating his bronze medal exploits at the Olympics. He's the best player on this team by far. He got traded in that deal that did involve Wembanyama. So the 4th and 5th best projected players were traded for one another. I don't know about Donovan Mitchell dropping to 33.98. There's some rationale and reasoning behind this that I'm reading behind the scenes, but I don't buy it. I think he's better than that. And it'd be interesting to see where he ends up. But just hearing some rumors that it won't be as good coming off the injuries. Bam Adebayo, 31.67 fantasy points, just a solid player. You trade Jabari Smith Jr., you get a solid player back. Jamal Murray didn't look very good in the Olympics, didn't look good at times during the season, but is projected to be Denver's second best player and this team's fourth best. Chris Middleton should step in there as the fifth guy here. Gafford. These guys are going to have to do some more moves. They struggling to fit under the cap with this team at the moment, so we expect to see a bit more before the season starts. But this is where they rank right now. It could have been worse, but I pushed them up to 13. The 12th best team is the Washington Wolfhounds. Lauri Markkanen, their best player in the early 30 FP range. You've got Gideon Van Vliet in that 29 FP range. I think Giddy at 58, I think that's going to be a pretty good season for him. Colin Sexton, underrated. I think he's really, really good. 67th in the league. Claxton is 86th. Mikal Bridges in New York is about the 93rd best player in this sort of format. And after that, Aaron Gordon's projected to be pretty good, surprisingly. But there's not a lot there below that. We hope Kobe Buff can get some minutes. They've just signed Jonathan Isaac, I believe, Cam Whitmore. So there's some promise there, but this team will be probably the third worst team in the East. It's quite clear to me that that's the case. Their depth doesn't sort of hang with the next team, which is the Cleveland Jaguars. This team has dealt an injury blow with Porzingis, probably going to miss half the season, we think. Kyle Kuzma was probably their best player last year, just about. 29.85 projected. Miles Bridges was, we got him. I think he'll end up these sort of stats. Anthony Simons, fairly solid. As long as he plays games, we'll be happy. Jalen Duran could even be the best player on this team too if he decides to pull his finger out of his ass and get a few more minutes. We want to see how Jordan Poole comes back. I mean, we predicted about 34 FP last year or 33. The projections have got 27, so we think he's going to start at point guard this year. We think that's going to be pretty, pretty good. Now, the X factor last year was CJ McCollum. He actually had a really good season. And part of the reason the Jags did as well as they did. But definitely a drop-off. He's getting older, 26.42. He's 50-50 to get re-signed at the moment. If he stays on the team, he may not get re-signed. There may be some other guys that get preference, but we'll see. Michael Porter Jr., this is about what you expect. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for 30 fantasy points a game this year. I think he really is due for a breakout season, a proper breakout season. This could be it for him. We need it. If we're going to do well in the playoffs, we need Maga Porter Jr. to actually do well. Amen Thompson, this is pretty, I think 21 fantasy points a game is fairly safe. I'd like a lot more, obviously. He's the number 4 pick, but the opportunities aren't there at the moment. They will be in the future. Year 3, we expect a massive increase, I would think. Derek Lively got signed. He's going to be north of 20 fantasy points a game as well, but he doesn't play big minutes. But hopefully the minutes jump up during the year. At the moment, we've got Tyus Jones. We've got Alex Caruso. We've got Peyton Pritchard. Those 3 guys should get some stats in the early part of the year. Keon Ellis, Castle, Cason Wallace, and there's Rod Dillingham as well. That's the Jags. The Predators, this team is tough, man. Like, I couldn't put my team above this, but Embiid, if healthy, it's number 3 in the league. Van Caro in the top 21 in the league now, 35 fantasy points, and Paul George about 32, 36th best player. Zach LaVine is their 4th best, so it sort of jumps downhill pretty quickly. Their depth isn't what the Jags' depth is, but we could beat this team if Embiid's not playing, that's for sure. Beal, Lopez, I mean, there's just a lot of veterans there. I think they signed Terrence Shannon Jr. recently. There's just a lot of veterans. Look at Brook Lopez and Conley. Obi Toppin, they just got an infatuation with him as well. Bazelis, obviously, more, with the Chicago team. So Moses Moody, he's there still too. I hope he gets a run this year. The Cows. Ooh. Solid team here. No superstars in the top 30 in the league, though. Jalen Brown's 33. Chet Holmgren is not a top 30 player yet. He's about 38. He's better probably in a category format than this sort of format, a points format. This is only his second season in the league, so just remember that. He should get a good run. I'd like to see better rebound numbers, but now you've got Hartenstein there. It might be difficult. Quickly is going to be hard to get now. Could have got him a lot cheaper about 8 months, 6 or 7, 8 months ago, whatever it was, before the trade. Now he's just a superstar and 43rd ranked player in the league, projected to be better than DeJounte Murray in the New Orleans. Jaren Jackson, this is come back to earth a little bit with Bain coming back, with Jar coming back, with a center. Guys like Brandon Clark and also Zach Edey. Jeremy Grant, good depth if you've got this guy that deep on the roster, as is D'Angelo Russell, good 7 for 8 sort of guy, 3, 4, 5, 7 for 8. So, yeah, those two guys are good. Tari, third season. Yep. Kevin Porter Jr., hard to know what to expect. Still on the roster at the moment. I don't know if I better check that he's actually got a contract or not. Doesn't really matter, but they deserve to have him if they want. Bub Carrington might get a bit of a run. When I was going through this, I fucked up Cam Johnson. I should have included him, but he wasn't. So he's down the bottom of there as well. 29 minutes a game predicted. 21.6 fantasy points a game, 119 in the league. So should at least be mentioned. The Snipers, the team number 8, Giannis, second best player in the league when it comes to points. Irving, 22, that's quite high. He's going to have a good year, but he is getting older. Just remember that. Brandon Ingram hasn't shown me that he's any better than a 68th type best player in the league. 28 fantasy points a game. Where we're going to get a bit more of a run, and we may even see Kuminga in the top 50, more than 30. That wouldn't surprise me. He's really, really good. Garland has just hit sort of plateau in his career. He hasn't sort of jumped past where he was looking really, really good. He was looking like an all-star regular, and then this happens. Austin Reeves keeps getting better. Jeremy Sohan is a sniper mainstay. Clint Capella, Clarkson, Ricochet 169, and Jovic. I think Jovic would be a lot better than that, actually. Nerds, the New England Red Devils, Bron and Bronny at the top, number 9 in the league for LeBron. Kawhi 14, Harden 20. So 3 players in the top 20. Just matters how many games these 3 guys play. They're all projected to be under 70 games, but we'll see what happens. DeMar DeRozan is predicted to probably play more than 70 games, but you just never know. He will drop a bit in Sacramento, but still over 30 fantasy points a game. Another good year for Vooch expected, which surprises me. I don't think he'll be this good. Harris will be this good. I can guarantee you that. Number 64 in the league, a good pickup. Same with V. I think JV was signed off the free agent list in the 77th projected ranked player. A good 27 sort of minutes a game. Klay Thompson, he's like become a nerd mainstay. Brogdon. I think he will do well early in the season, Broggo. Draymond Green. So this team's got a lot of deep veterans, the oldest team in the league, I think, by far. They got Josh Hart, they got Bagley, they got Trey Mann. So they got this is the nerds team. This is the roster. This is the roster that he's going to rely on to win the league, ranked 7th here. The 6th is the San Francisco Tigers. Don't know what happened to the Tiger there. Thought I did something. Maybe anyway, all good. Let's have a look at some numbers here. Sabonis is really an underrated fantasy player. People forget how good he was. He was 39.5 fantasy points last year. With the coming in of DeRozan, even back to 38 is still very, very good. Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know. I think 40 was going to jump into that 40 FP range, but he's taken a step back, I think. I'm not sure if his injuries hurt him a little bit, but he's 34 points. He's just a great player. But Scotty Barnes is very, very good. Very, very good. So is De'Aaron Fox. They're all in the top 30, 4 of them in the top 30. But this is Cam Thomas time. He's now in the top 42 in the league. And RJ Barrett's in the top 50. So I have 6 guys in the top 50. Very solid. Very, very solid. And this is the reason they're going to be dangerous. Off the bench, I mean, Shaden Sharp could be do better than this. Wendell Carter, it's hard to know where he goes. He's sort of a meddler. in the middle sort of thing. Asar Thompson, very, very good, but where does he get the stats from this season with Harris there, Ivy getting better? Where do they come from? DiVincenzo, that's about who he is with that full team. Allen, definitely a big step back. Linnick, getting older. Barnes, crap. Big Dick Nick Richards, and Malik Beasley. The double doubles, they've got two really good players at the top in the top six, two of the top six players in the league. Luca and AD. AD had a massive year last year, expected to do it again. It's hard to go back to back. It's hard. You don't usually see AD really in the top 5 or 6 2 seasons in a row. So if he really can take a hit, that wouldn't surprise me. Coming off the Olympic campaign, it's always a worry with him. 35 and a half minutes is probably a lot of minutes for him. I do worry about him anyway. Luca doesn't have to worry about him as much because he didn't play in the Olympics. And they've got Kevin Durant, and this will probably be Kevin Durant's worst season for a while, but still top 34 type player. Just amazing, 32.69 fantasy points a game. He's had a long career. And then it's a big drop down to Gobert at 60, Kobe White 75. So there's your starting 5. You've got your top 5 players in the top 75: that Rozier, Hurtle, Monk, Portis. Some bench talent there. We don't think anything after Portis is any good there at all. And we're moving on to the next team. Team number 4, the LA Pens. LA Pens with Jalen Brunson. Also, Cade Cunningham expected to do quite well this time around. Devin Booker, we know how good he is. So they've got 3 players in the top 20, 4 players in the top 30 with our friend Şengün. They've got 6 players in the top 48. Desmond Bain and Karl Anthony Towns. So one of these guys has to sit on the bench to start. I would expect probably Bain is going to actually be one of the best bench player 6 men in the league, isn't he? If he's 30.38 and coming off the bench, that's amazing. Abdiya should continue to help. OG Anunoby's not really a fantasy player. We'll get the minutes though. Play a lot of minutes. PJ Washington, I tried to get it on Onyeka Okongwu, unsuccessful. This could be the year for him, finally, we think. Kispert, another guy I try to get. Caleb Martin, Patrick Williams running up the rear. The top 3 teams, drum roll time. And the number 3 team projected for the 2025 season is the Alabama Wild Boars. Okay, let's have a look. Jason Tatum, around 40 fantasy points a game, 8th ranked in the league. They got Ant, I think is probably really close to a top 10 player. Projected to be 36.71. Randall was away a lot of the year, still a very good points player, and ranked 23. Lillard 31. So you got 4 guys there. Butler is just getting older and older, so I can't expect him to do any better than 30 fantasy points a game. Miles Turner, just a solid 6th man, as is Derek White, as is Zubac. Now, this Zubac guy, biggest year incoming for his career, I think. Look at that, 26 fantasy points. He's a good as player as a Mark Williams, easily. He's probably better than JV this season, but, definitely I'd take this guy over Nurk at the moment. Because of the age as well. He's in the top 100 quite clearly. Schroeder, underrated in fantasy circles, gets waived a lot and still brings in 22 fantasy points a game. Paul, just a good player. Can't deny that. TJD, I think he's going to get some minutes, and I think when he gets minutes, he's a good player. He gets good stats. Andre Drummond. Just one of these handcuff sort of players at the end of the day. Very, very solid. Al Horford. So this is a really, really great veteran team. Dan tried to put a really good veteran team together, but this is a better veteran team. They've got Edwards, who's young. Tatum, I don't think he's young anymore. Been around a long, long time. But they're a veteran team. You go past Edwards, this will be his fifth season in the league. They're just a veteran team. This is a veteran team that's going to win, and the only thing that can stop them is if some injuries, really, as far as winning the East and probably getting to the finals are concerned. Number 2, Death Valley. I think they won the season. They won it last year, but they made some massive moves, and this is going to change the makeup of what their team looks like, especially when you compare it. These top 3 teams were neck and neck when it came to rankings, very, very close, and a bee's dick between them all. Victor, it's ambitious that he'll be the 4th ranked player, but it's not saying it won't. Steph Curry, we think that with Clay gone, he looks fresh, he looks great. Whether he plays a lot of games, we don't know, but 36.21 is there it is. Pascal 34.2, Jalen Williams 33.03, Tyrese Maxey 31.63, Franz Wagner, a new acquisition, 30.7. So there's your top 6 players with over 30 fantasy points a game. Then there's a big drop down to Jabari Smith at number 7 and Bogdan Bogdanovic at number 8. Gary Trent, playable, very playable player, as is Melton, perhaps. He gets the minutes. Hendricks is going to be good. Will he get 27.5 minutes? That's hard to see. But Vince Williams is good if there's someone gets injured in there. Braun and Trey Jones. Yeah, it's gonna be another close league. Utah Saints. Let's just go through why this team's probably the best at the moment. And it's sort of surprising that they are actually, but when you look at what's going on here, you see 7 players that can stick out. And I think Vassell's really a better than 30 fantasy points a game type player. They've got 6 that definitely will be. There could be 7. So Shea's is 7th. I think he's probably even better than that. Trey Young is in the top 12. Jar's probably up there as well, 17. Zion. So we've got 4 guys in the top 25. Not many teams can boast that. Zion needs to have a big year. He looks lean. He looks great. Jalen Johnson, that was putting your ass on the line. What a move that was. That was, at the time, it looked like it was a horrible move because Ayton was a good player, man. No one thought Jalen Johnson would be like this sort of player, getting 30 fantasy points a game. Nobody. Even, I don't know if Dennis thought that at all, but I definitely didn't. And he's projected to be 32.6, mainly because DeJounte Murray is going, here's your number 2 weapon. So 2 Hawk players there. Evan Mobley. Yep. He's due to get better. He has to have a better year. Devin Vassell, we talked about him. Pachemski, what a really good pick. Hopefully they can sign him. I think they can. Maverin, I think he's a bit of a disappointment, but his injuries are there. Clowney keeps getting mentioned as being a great player. Sharp, Reed Shepherd, number 2 pick in the draft. We'll get a bit of a run, 22 minutes a game. Paul Reed, just another person called Reed. And that will be. How do we stop sharing that? Hang on. That'll be the report that'll be the projections. That'll be the TRSBA power rankings. What do you think? Just give me your thoughts, guys. I think that says a lot. And I look forward to the season starting and some more moves to come. Cheers.